If you're looking at the iPhone 17 Pro or 17 Pro Max, all I want to do is just share my thoughts so I can help you decide whether or not it's actually going to be a good decision. The very first thing I want to start with is the vapor chamber because I'm seeing this pop up in the comments a lot on my other videos. So I want to explain how this is going to work and then let you decide whether or not this is going to be something that is going to be beneficial to how you use your phone. For that, I have this spoon right here. And I want you to follow along in this example. So the end that I'm holding the spoon is where you typically hold the spoon, right? Now, if I asked you, how do I get heat to this end where I'm holding it without actually applying heat over there? One way to do it would be to light a flame on this end. Now, once the flame gets going, right, what's going to happen is the spoon's going to heat up and heat is going to travel down this entire stem and eventually the whole spoon is going to be hot. Now, depending on the material of the spoon, it's going to heat up or stay hot longer or cool off faster. This is why you have aluminum this year as opposed to titanium. Now, the vapor chamber works just like this. Think of this spoon, but it's an enclosed chamber, and the flame is basically your processor. So as your processor heats up, and let's say it starts getting hot because you've been doing a long gaming session, right? What's going to happen is the liquid on this end of the chamber is going to get hot, it's going to vaporize, and it's going to move its way down to the cooler part of the chamber. And it's going to direct that heat all the way down to this side and then spread it further along to the edges of your phone so it can get away from the processor. Now, what's cool is that when the vapor gets over here, because it's cooler over here, it turns back into liquid. And then there's a wicking system. Think of like you have a spill of water and you put a paper towel close to it. I'll overlay something so you can see this, right? But if you bring the paper towel closer, what you're going to notice is it's going to pull that liquid in. And that's what happens. And this process happens again and again from one end to the other, just taking heat from one side to the next and pushing it to other parts of your phone so that way it can get away from the processor. And that way your processor can perform for a longer sustained period of time. Now, in order to translate this into what this actually means in the real world is, let's say you're gaming. Instead of gaming for 30 minutes, you're gaming for an hour and you're just going at it, max settings, right? You're really pushing your device. The vapor chamber is going to kick in and help to keep your phone cool for longer so that way the processor doesn't throttle itself. Now, eventually, will there be a point where you actually will have to throttle the processor? Yeah, probably so. But it gives you an edge because it lets you go for a longer period of time. Now you take this and you combine it with the efficiency of the new A19 Pro chip and then all of the software tweaks and everything, the aluminum unibody, which is the new design. So basically, if you look at it, right, like this is a dummy unit. But if you look at this thing, what is happening is heat is going to move from here to here. And when it gets on this side, right, it'll be able to channel itself to the corners of the device so that it can get away from the phone. And therefore just giving you better performance overall. So now that I've covered the performance side of things, I want to move to the camera because here you're going to have ProRes video recording. And this, by the way, is a dummy unit. That's why Apple logo's down here. But you have the telephoto camera, so it gives you up to 8x zoom. You have ProRes video recording. You have ProRAW for photos. Now, whether or not you actually take advantage of these things, that's what I want you to think of. That's all I ask is that if you just simply think about that, because the 17 is such a good deal this year that if you're not taking advantage of these pro features, I think you should sway that way. Now, one thing that we don't see or realize here in the USA is that overseas, for other countries, you have taxes and duties and everything. So these phones right here, they end up costing people sometimes even double the price. So that's why this year, more than ever, with the 17 being so great, if you're not taking advantage of these pro features, look to the 17. I think you will really be happy and it could save you a lot of money. Because if you're here in the USA and you're trading in an old phone and they're giving you like $1,100, does it really matter? Because no, like you're basically getting the new phone for free. But to everyone overseas, it makes a huge difference. Another thing I need you to consider is the USB-C speeds. This has USB-C 3. And what that means is that when you do things like data transfer, so if you're using a SSD with your iPhone, Pro iPhone or Pro Max iPhone, right? It's going to be important there. If you're a professional, let's say you're transferring a lot of files between your phone and your camera and all of that, that's going to be relevant to you. But if you're not doing that, you get USB-C 2 on a bunch of these standard devices. I have the 16E right here. Now I want to move to the front side because here you get the same 18 megapixel camera that you get in the base 17 in the Air. All the models have the same camera. Also, the display is same across the board except for a few of the sizes. For example, on the Air, it's going to be a 6.5 inch. On the Pro Max, it's going to be 6.9 inches. And what I'm judging from the comments is that a lot of you like the bigger display of the Pro Max. That's why you want to stick to just getting a Pro Max. Otherwise, you would have been fine going down to the 17, which is okay. But I do think that if this year Apple actually had the Plus model, then I think it would have been a home run simply because in the standard 17, you give everybody a size choice difference or battery choice difference. And then in the Pro models, you give everybody the same exact thing. So it's a win-win situation for whatever display size and battery capacity you're looking for, which brings me to battery. Pro Max, I think 39 hours of video playback and the Pro 33. So the Pro is not that much different than the iPhone 17, but the Pro Max 39 hours, honestly, like for me, that is just next level because I'm never going to use that much battery. 39 hours for video playback is 20 2-hour long movies. So 20 movies that are 2 hours long each. You got to watch all of that to deplete that battery. But again, I think it's not so much the video playback that people are going to be doing on these devices. It's whether or not you're actually going to be pushing the camera and the other pro features. That's why the batteries are stacked, which means that these are a bit thicker and heavier, which honestly, I can tell you this much, just being a iPhone SE user, then 12 and 13 mini user, now a 16E user, I'm so used to light phones that it's very hard for me to move to something different. But if you're used to a Pro Max, like for example, if you're coming from one of the older stainless steel models, guess what? You're going to be perfectly fine because it's automatically going to be lighter. I haven't checked each and every single model and compared, but I can tell you just simply from going from stainless steel to titanium and then to aluminum. So it should be a good difference for you. So hopefully with all this information and my thoughts, you can just take this as food for thought and apply it to your buying decision and make a much better choice. That's all I'm here for. Otherwise, whether you want to go for a Pro Max model or a 17 model or stick with your older iPhone, it doesn't really make a difference to my pockets. It's your pockets that I care about, and I would like you to make an informed decision. So hopefully this helps you in doing so. And if this video has helped you, all I ask is a thumbs up so that way more people can find it. Comment down below with your thoughts. I will hunt in the comments for like new things and what you're saying so I can make more videos. And most importantly, take care of yourself and I will see you in the next video.